The plot thickens with another Agatha Christie movie directed by Kenneth Branagh. Death on the Nile is the second Hercule Poirot murder movie that Kenneth Branagh is directing and playing as the character. Based on the Agatha Christie novel, this movie also stars Armie Hammer, Gal Gadot, Letitia Wright, Rose Leslie, Russell Brand, Susanna Fielding, Sophie Okonedo, Annette Bening, and Tom Bateman. Now that's an awfully big cast, just like the last one was an awfully big cast. But this one is a much better movie. Now, I did watch the David Suchet version that was done by the BBC on my Roku, and that was a pretty good version of this particular mystery. Basically, the plot is Hercule is on vacation after solving the murder on the Orient Express. He is in Egypt doing his vacation, being invited by a family member, and is there as a guest on a honeymoon cruise being put on by these two newlyweds played by Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer. There's a couple of murders happening on this cruise, and Hercule Poirot has to solve the mystery of who did the murders. And that's pretty much our movie. I don't want to say who gets murdered or who are the suspects. Pretty much everybody on the boat is a suspect. Now, I am a big fan of Hercule Poirot, and I love Agatha Christie novels. So I definitely wanted to see this movie, and I wanted to see how well this movie was going to play out compared to the David Suchet version. You know, David Suchet does a wonderful job when he portrays the character for the BBC. I still think his version is a little bit more iconic than Kenneth Branagh. I feel like David Suchet's version is the definitive Hercule Poirot, but Kenneth Branagh really does a great job playing this character. I feel like he has a lot of the mannerisms and a lot of what makes this character so great when he plays this detective. And I did like the backstory that this movie gives behind Hercule Poirot and behind his mustache, which is pretty good. Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer, they're great in this movie. I did like Rose Leslie in the film. I did like Tom Bateman. Russell Brand is very good as a doctor. Letitia Wright is really good in the movie. Annette Bening is great. Susanna Fielding is really good in the movie. Sophie Okonedo is really good in the film as well. She plays a singer in the movie. And Letitia Wright is, I think, her niece or her daughter in the film. Kind of like her business manager in a way. And the movie is really good with all the twists and turns that it gives, and the suspense with this movie. And I have to say, even though I like David Suchet as the character more than Kenneth Branagh, I think I like this version more because this version was a bit more suspenseful, more than the BBC version. The BBC version wasn't as suspenseful because it's a made-for-TV version, and this is a movie version. So I felt like this version got the story better, and Egypt looks really good in this movie. The cinematography is great. The way they made the Egyptian scenery looks really good and everything. And the River Nile looks really nice in this film. You really feel like you're on this boat with Hercule Poirot trying to figure out the mystery and everything. And you have to really have a good watchful eye and try to figure out who the murderer is. Although it is quite obvious when you're watching the movie of who the killers are. I mean, the two people who end up being the killers, they have the word killers written all over them through the whole movie. So that was basically one of the problems with the movie. That was kind of predictable who was going to end up being in the end. But I didn't mind that too much, because sometimes that does add to the mystery and does add to how long it takes for Hercule to figure it out and eventually tell everybody who are the killers or killer, and how the murder was done. Which the weapon is a gun in this movie. Overall, I really did like this movie, and I thought this movie was much better than The Murder on the Orient Express. I thought The Murder on the Orient Express was pretty good, but I thought the David Suchet version was a little bit better. With this movie, it's flipped. This movie is much better than the David Suchet version. So I'm gonna give this movie a B+. I really did like this movie, and that's all I gotta say for Death in the Nile.